Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to World Football Alliance Crunch Time here on the World Sports and Entertainment Network. I'm your host, DB Love. This week we're in week 16 of the World Football Alliance. As usual, starting off with the Alliance Division. This week in week 16, teams on a bye were Toronto, Portland, Memphis, and Mexico City Golden Eagles. Moving right along, we'll get into scores for week 16. Starting off, we'll start with Oklahoma City taking on Salt Lake City. Salt Lake City would win that one 31-21. They would improve to 6-5. Oklahoma City Nighthawks fall to 4-7. Coming up next, a good game. San Diego Aftershock took on the Austin Desperados. Aftershock won that one barely, 22-19. Aftershock improved to 8-3. Desperados fall to 2-9. Coming up next, London Black Knights taking on Sacramento. Black Knights will win that one 19-16. They improved to 5-7. Sacramento falls to 4-7. Up next, Houston took on the Orlando Wizards. Houston won that one 20-16. They improved to 6-5. Wizards fall to 5-6. And our last score was a major upset. Chicago Tigers coming into this one with a 1-10 record. Upset San Antonio Marshals 35-14. Tigers improved to 2-10. Marshals fall to 6-6. Let's get into our highlight game. This is a battle for first place in the Alliance Division. Winner moves into first place. Brooklyn Barons taking on Columbus Aviators. Check it out.
And we start things off in this battle for first place. Brooklyn Barons taking on the Columbus Aviators. Both have added a field goal early. We're here late in the first quarter. Russell Gallion hits Bloomberg for a 90-yard touchdown. Bloomberg's speed just pulls away from the defenders there. Takes it 90 yards untouched for a 10-3 lead here late in the first quarter in this all-important game. Battle for first place here. The Brooklyn Barons come in with a record of 8-2. Columbus Aviators with a record of 9-2. And halfway through the second quarter here, disaster strikes for the hometown Columbus Aviators. Quarterback Trey Powell fumbles the football, scrambling. Knocked loose by Nate Peterman. Carpenter scoops it up, takes it to the house for a touchdown and a 17-3 lead. And we are at halftime here in Columbus, Ohio. Hometown Aviators trailing the Brooklyn Barons 20-3. Aviators open the scoring with a field goal. Kaliko Atkinson would then sack Russell Gallion there. Gallion would come back, fire a strike to Bloomberg, who would take it 90 yards to the house. Bloomberg would later leave with an injury. We'll see if he returns. But outstanding catch and run for him there for a 10-3 lead. We jump to the end of the third quarter now. Columbus have added a field goal to make it 20-6. And there is a touchdown for the Aviators. The handoff goes to Pelshak, the running back, gets it in for a touchdown for Columbus. First touchdown of the day to make it 20-13. 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. And that right there is what Russell Gallion and the Brooklyn Barons do best. Russell Gallion fires a strike to his speedy receiver Vanderhot, takes it into the end zone untouched for his 5th touchdown of the year. Just when Columbus were starting to fight back into this one, Brooklyn strikes for another touchdown. And that does it for us here in Columbus, Ohio. Brooklyn Barons win a big game on the road here in the battle for first place in the division. Brooklyn Barons move into first place with the win at 9-2. Aviators will be a half game back in second at 9-3. Look at the numbers, all passing for Brooklyn, all rushing for the Aviators.
And there you have it. With the win, Brooklyn Barons move into first place in the Alliance Division. Couple of key injuries in that game, though. Kaliko Atkinson, star defensive end for Columbus Aviators, broke his collarbone in that game. He will be out for the remainder of the season. Also, on the Brooklyn side, star wide receiver Charles Bloomberg ruptured a disc. He is projected to be out around 5 weeks, which could be trouble for Brooklyn. If they made it all the way to the championship game, he may be able to make it back then, but either way, that's a big loss for both teams. So, a couple key injuries there late in the season for the 2 top teams in the Alliance Division. Speaking of standings, we'll get right into those. We talked about it. Brooklyn Barons are now in first with that win. They're at 9-2. Aviators fall to second after losing to Brooklyn. They're at 9-3. Third place is the Memphis Hounds and the San Diego Aftershock. Both are at 8-3. Then we have the Portland Snowhawks at 7-4. Salt Lake City Elks and Houston Voyagers sit at 6-5. And the San Antonio Marshals sit at 6-6. Before we move to the United Division, we'll talk about the Week 15 Players of the Week here in the Alliance Division. Devin Marshall, halfback for the Salt Lake City Elks, was Offensive Player of the Week. 22 carries, 171 yards, and 2 touchdowns on the ground. 9 catches, 63 yards, and 2 touchdown receptions. 4 total touchdowns. Over 200 all-purpose yards. Great game for him. And Defensive Player of the Week was the defensive tackle for the Columbus Aviators, Patrick Aguirre, 9 tackles and 3 sacks. Moving on to the United Division. Teams on bye this week, Week 16 United Division. Sacramento, San Antonio Dreadnoughts, San Diego Crusaders, and the Brooklyn Beats. Before we get into everything here in the United Division, we'll go ahead and talk about the Week 15 Players of the Week in the United Division. Offensive Player of the Week was Watts Hemingway. He's the quarterback for the Sacramento Miners. He went 24 of 44, 309 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. And the Defensive Player of the Week last week was middle linebacker for the Austin Armadillos, Rashawn Trevathan. He had 13 tackles and 2 interceptions. This is his 2nd straight week being Defensive Player of the Week. Good ending of the season here for Rashawn Trevathan. Congratulations to him. Let's get to scores in Week 16 United Division. We'll start it off. Salt Lake City took on Portland. Cascadia battle. Salt Lake City won that game between the 2 rivals, 24-20. Salt Lake City improves to 8-4. Portland falls to 5-6. Up next, we had an upset. London Monarchs fall to Columbus Caps 35-7. Columbus Caps improved to 4-7. Monarchs fall to 6-5. Up next, a close game. Austin Armadillos beat the Toronto Huskies 20-19. Armadillos improved to 9-2. Huskies fall to 6-6. Up next, another close game. Mexico City Conquistadors beat Houston 23-20. Mexico City improves to 5-7. Houston falls to 4-8. And lastly, we had a blowout here. Chicago Blues demolished the Memphis Steamers 41-27. Chicago improves to 7-5. Memphis falls to 2-10. Let's get to this week's highlights. Oklahoma City Bison taking on Dublin Celtic Tigers. Check that one out.
Alright, we start things off in this one late in the second quarter. Nothing going throughout much of the first half. Dublin leads 9-0 after 3 field goals. Here trying to end the first half, Oklahoma City running a 2-minute offense, trying to get some points on the board. Quarterback Dalton Booth throws the interception right there, picked off by the Dublin Celtic Tigers, who lead 9-0 to end the first half. And coming off the interception with only 45 seconds remaining in the half, Dublin Celtic Tigers drive the ball down the field. Roy Dale puts the pass on the money for his 20th passing touchdown of the year. First touchdown of this game. 5 seconds remaining in the first half gives the Dublin Celtic Tigers a 16-0 lead after a 6-play, 61-yard drive. And that takes us right to halftime. Celtic Tigers leading the visiting Oklahoma City Bison. And here early in the second half, another interception for the Celtic Tigers. Dalton Booth picked off for a second time. Third interception of the year for the player there. And a few short plays later, again coming off the interception, Roy Dale fires an absolute strike to the receiver. His second passing touchdown of the day to extend the Celtic Tiger lead. And it's blocked. The field goal attempt is blocked by Oklahoma City, scooped up, and he will take it to the house. That's only good for 2 points, but it gets Oklahoma City on the board. Maybe the spark they needed. You see the edge defender blocked the extra point attempt, scooped up there, taken back for 2 points for the Bisons. And there's a forced fumble recovered for a touchdown by the Celtic Tigers. Third defensive takeaway of the day. This time Dalton Booth gets sacked. Big man Trotter picks it up and walks it in for the touchdown. Extra point will give the Celtic Tigers a 29-2 lead. And that does it for us here in Dublin, Ireland. Celtic Tigers dominate this one 32-2. I do not believe we've had a shutout here this season in the World Football Alliance, but 2 points is definitely the lowest game total for any team. Complete domination by the Celtic Tigers. Roy Dale put on an passing offensive clinic. The Celtic Tigers defense put on a defensive clinic. All Celtic Tigers in this one.
And there you have it. Let's get to the standings in the United Division. Austin Armadillos leading the way at 9-2. Salt Lake City Pioneers are in second at 8-4. Dublin Celtic Tigers with the win are in third at 7-4. And the Chicago Blues sitting fourth at 7-5. So there you have it through 16 weeks in the World Football Alliance. 1 week to go before the playoffs. Be sure to tune in next week right here, World Football Alliance Crunch Time, as we gear up for the playoffs. Thanks for tuning in. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, please. Please check out the United States Basketball Championship, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.